I have had this primitive buffet in my garage for several months. It was a Facebook marketplace find. I think I got it for like $25. And once I got it home and realized that it was in very poor condition, it kind of sat in my garage for a long time. But I finally decided to pull it out and give it some love. Welcome back to Perfectly Imperfect Furniture. Stay tuned for this makeover. Look at this, you guys. The top of this buffet wasn't even attached. I searched and searched for screws that maybe were missing from underneath, but there were none. I think it was just glued. So I started by gluing it back down, but I knew that wasn't going to be enough for the long term. So what I ended up doing is taking my countersink drill bit and I screwed some holes into the top, as you'll see right here, and then secured it that way. I knew that I was going to be painting this piece. The veneer was in terrible condition. There was no saving that wood. So by countersinking those holes, what I'll end up doing is just filling them, sanding them smooth, and painting over top, and you'll never see that they were there. It's moved inside at this point, and I used quick wood for those holes, but look at all that veneer damage. It was very bad, and I had lots of work to do, but I did start with the quick wood. I will make sure to link that for you guys. It's a 2-part epoxy, and it's very easy to use, but still lots of damage to repair. As I mentioned earlier, I knew that I was going to paint this piece, and I asked my followers over on Instagram what they thought. Should I go with a neutral like Turtle Dove Taupe by Melange, or should I do something a little more fun and use Tobacco by Melange? It was about 60-40 for Tobacco, and that's what I wanted to use as well. So stay tuned. I'll show you what that color looks like. But right now, I've got a mess. Tons and tons of veneer removal and lots of filling yet to do. And I don't know if you guys noticed, inside of this buffet, there were a ton of like papers and things like that. I'll get to that later. But yeah, it's in rough shape. It's not the type of piece that I'm going to be able to restore. This is definitely a painter. And I love painting furniture, so that's okay with me. So I'm showing you guys here that after that quick wood was all cured, I sanded it smooth. But I'm going to come back in with Bondo because there were so many areas where the veneer was just way too damaged, and Bondo is going to be your best bet for filling that. And you mix the cream hardener with the Bondo until you get a consistent color. You do have to work pretty quickly with this because it dries pretty fast. And I have a Bondo spreader here that I'm just spreading it out over those areas, and I will let it fully dry and cure before sanding it smooth. So here's that mess I was telling you guys about on the inside. I often find things like this on the inside of furniture, and it's kind of bittersweet because sometimes it's these cute drawings or kids' pictures. There was nothing too notable in this buffet, but lots of stuff that I had to clear out before I could get this piece all cleaned up. If you have ever painted or refinished furniture, let me know in comments what is the weirdest thing you've ever found inside of a piece. Okay, you guys, so the inside of the drawers, the veneer was peeling even there. So one of the tricks that I use is to place a wet towel on that veneer, and then you saw that I had some weights on there as well, and I let it sit, and that helps you peel it off much easier. Getting back to the top, the Bondo is completely dry and cure. So now I will have to sand that smooth, and I will use my Festool sander using either 120 or 220 grit to get that smooth and see how nicely it fills it in there. But now I'm going to move on to prepping the drawers, and I am going to give all of these a good scuff sanding with 220 grit on my Festool sander. I will link this for you guys, my sander as well as my dust extractor. I love this. I can't say one bad thing about it. It is an investment, but it is by far the best investment that I've ever made for my business. And scuff sanding is going to ensure proper adherence of your paint. So while you don't have to sand it down to raw wood, you at least want to give it a good scuff sanding to remove some of the existing finish so that your paint will adhere properly. And even after this is sanded, there are little areas of the veneer that is chipping away. So I had to use a lot of wood filler on those areas. I'm using Famo wood. It's my favorite, super easy to use, dries quickly, dries very hard. I will link this for you as well. But as you can see, there were areas all over the drawers that needed this wood filler. That top drawer is so long, by the way. After it's sanded down, you can see how the wood filler just very nicely filled in those small areas. Okay, so now I'm going to get back to the buffet itself and make sure that that top is all nice and smooth after all of that filling that I needed to do. So I'm going over it with 220 grit on my Festool, and then I will also give the rest of the piece a good scuff sanding as well, because this piece is going to be entirely painted. After all of that, here's what it's looking like now. Still pretty scary. The top is nice and smooth, even though it looks crazy. I did use a combination of several wood fillers on the damaged areas. Started with quick wood, then I used some Bondo, and then I also used Famo wood just to make sure that when I do paint it, you will not be able to see the filled areas. Now, this piece is kind of that back detail from the buffet, and that was a nightmare. Again, I had to remove veneer, and just putting wet cloths and weight did not do the trick, so I had to pull out my iron. What you do is you get a rag nice and wet, and then put your iron over top of it and let it really steam up to loosen up the glue on the veneer. And then usually you're able to peel it back much easier. Mine was very stubborn. Just showing you here with a flathead screwdriver. I ended up getting some different tools, but it is starting to come off, but man, that was stubborn. All right, you guys, let's get to the fun part. Like I said, I am going with a color by Melange called Tobacco. It is one of my favorite colors. It's this very deep, rich, warm mustard, yellow brown almost. I've used it several times, and I realize this color may not be for everyone, but I have to tell you, I don't have a problem selling pieces in this color at all. In fact, I've had several custom requests for this. So don't be scared to go bold. Not everybody wants neutral. Not everybody wants white, black, gray, or beige. And it's fun to paint with color. This is honestly one of my absolute favorites by Melange. I am using their Rachel brush, which is the 1.5-inch premium oval brush. I use it all the time. I'll make sure to link that for you as well. I just love the grip. I love the amount of paint that it holds. It's so smooth and easy to use. Melange Paints has the primer and top coat built into their paint, so that's why I was able to get right to the paint. I did not have to prime this piece because it's already built in. One of the things I love most about it. Moving on to the body of the buffet, still using my Rachel brush with tobacco, and I only hand brush all of my pieces. I don't spray, I don't roll, and Melange Paints is self-leveling, so that means that you won't see any brush strokes in the finished product. But you do want to make sure that when you are brushing, you use light, thin coats with a light hand. So you don't want to load up your brush with a bunch of paint. You don't want to press the brush into your piece too hard. Just light, thin coats with a light hand. And don't be scared when you see that quote unquote scary first coat, because I promise you that with additional coats, it all levels out and evens out so beautifully. I did a total of 3 coats on this piece, and I'm just showing you the first coat right now. One of the pieces of advice that I always give people who are just starting out doing this is to trust the process. I think people often get scared when they see that first coat and it looks all uneven, and they get scared and stop, or just think, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I ruined it. Trust the process. With this color, with this paint, and with many paints, you're going to need several coats. But once you get it all done, it looks so beautiful, and it's so worth that wait and your patience. As I mentioned earlier, this is a primitive piece, and I don't want it to look perfect. I want it to look rustic. It's old. It has a lot of damage. It has a lot of wear, but I know it can still be beautiful. One of the things that I use to kind of jazz up the inside of the piece is this. It is Howard's Feed and Wax. I absolutely love this product. It's super easy to use. It smells really good. All I do is kind of squirt some out inside of the drawer here, and then I'll take a microfiber cloth and just rub it in, and it really kind of brings the wood back to life. It helps even out any like scratches and things like that. It's not going to make it perfect, but it makes it look much better. It makes it smell good. I use it all the time on the insides of drawers. You can even use it on your existing wood furniture if it just seems like it's dull and thirsty and needs a drink. I love it. So now we are ready for the fun part. Let's put it all back together and get it staged up and ready for pictures. I don't know if you guys saw when I was putting the top drawer back in, I did use a beautiful drawer liner for this piece, and it looked so good with this color. I'll make sure to link that for you guys. It is from Amazon. I changed out the hardware, just went with something simple. So let's look back at the before. Cute piece, very, very rough. Only 20, I think it was $20 or $25. I can't remember because I've had it so long. I knew it was going to be a lot of work, and that's why I left it sitting in my garage for a while. But let me tell you, I am so happy that I finally pulled it out and got it painted, because here is what it looks like now. I just love it. I think it looks so beautiful in this color. I staged it up for fall, and it's just so good. Like I said before, I know that this color isn't for everyone, but you have to remember, not everyone likes the same things. Some people like neutrals, some people like bold. And you know what? I am not producing furniture for the masses. I am producing one-of-a-kind furniture for one person. And you know what, you guys? This piece sold very quickly, and that one person loved it very much. I am so happy that I was able to give this piece a new look and a new life and a new home. It's not perfect, but it's rustic and it's beautiful and it's functional. Look at that top. You would never know all that damage was underneath there. Again, this color is called Tobacco by Melange. You can use my code GEN10 for 10% off your Melange orders. Thanks for watching, and follow along for more furniture makeovers.